How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. What if I told you that nice guys are actually the guys you should be avoiding? What if I also told you that if you make a mistake of dating one of these nice guys, then you could end up in a worse position in your relationship than if you dated a player? If that sounds completely confusing to you, don't worry. On today's show, we'll be discussing why you should never date a nice guy. That way you don't make the mistake of thinking your dream man is actually the man that will have you living in a nightmare. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. How are all of you? This is what the kids are doing, right? The kids do this, right? That's the thing that the kids do, right? I think so, right? Welcome to today's show. How are you guys all doing? Let's see what we got in the chat today. I see we got Zyra here, Aset here, Angel's here, Taja's here, Baby Reefa is here, K-Mac is here, Chastity is here. Welcome all you beautiful people in the TikTok chat. And of course, we got our three moderators, Sharice, SH, and Scotty here. Welcome all of you beautiful people. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? I see we got Null here. We have Irina is here, Mary Kim here. Oh, shout out to Null as well. I seen you guys say that it was Null's birthday, so happy birthday to Null. Drunya is here, Carolyn D is here, Shadinia, I believe that's how you say the name, is here. Amber, welcome, is here. Ivy, one of our amazing channel members, is here. A shout out to Henya as well. I didn't say she's a channel member. She is a channel member. Great Fortune Cookie, who's an amazing channel member. Nicole, one of our generous and amazing channel members. Tracy Niles, who was here like first thing. She was like one of the first people here. So shout out to Nick, Tracy Niles, and all the rest of you. And of course, we have Missy America holding down our YouTube chat. So glad to have all of you guys here. Now, today's topic going to be very interesting. We did do a poll about this topic of nice guys, but surprisingly, actually it was to my surprise, maybe the rest of you aren't surprised, the topic that won over talking about nice guys was how to turn men on. So we didn't end up doing it that day. I had to postpone that show for another day, which is today. But here we are discussing nice guys. Now I know the title might be a bit confusing to you because you're thinking in your mind, well, Tomisin, this is a nice guy. Why would I be avoiding him? You tell me all the different ways that I should be avoiding players, not nice guys. I thought we're trying to set me up with a nice guy. Well, let me explain this first point to you so we can all be on the same page on what I really mean by today's topic of discussion, okay? So, in all groups and categories, right, especially as it relates to nice guys, you're going to have different types. What does that really mean? See, you have the umbrella of nice guys, and within that, you'll have some really amazing things, right? You'll have some people, let me draw this properly. You'll have, in this process of nice guys, right, you'll have some guys who will, right, take you out. Okay, so we'll circle this as one of the categories of nice guys. You'll have another group of nice guys. Let's say they're pretty generous, right? Just, generous types of men that will spend money on you. You could also have another group of nice guys who, will be friendly. And so you might be thinking to yourself, well, Tomisin, all of these different nice guys exist in the world, right? You also have nice guys that say that just in general will treat you well. Or actually, let's even be more specific. We'll have nice guys in here that don't, because I know a lot of you guys care about this, cheat, right? So you'll have nice guys in some of these different categories here. And you might be thinking, well, Tomisin, this is amazing. I would love to be able to have a guy who would take me out, be friendly, be generous, who wouldn't cheat, who would be loyal to me. That's all the things I want. Why would you ever tell me to avoid those type of men? Well, in the process of these nice guys, you also have some other categories, right? And unfortunately, this will happen as well. You'll have nice guys who are passive, okay? You'll have nice guys who, as we can describe it, they don't want to offend. Semi-similar to being passive, but a little bit different, right? You'll have nice guys who they're passive, they don't want to get in your face, they don't want to offend you, they don't want to come across too mean, right? And or make you feel bad or any one of these things, right? And then you'll also have nice guys who will find it difficult, right? They don't take see if I can fit this in here, okay? They don't take initiative, right? So you'll have some of these different types of nice guys in here that have some of these qualities, right? They don't cheat, they're friendly, they're generous, they're nice to you, they're kind to you, all that good stuff. But some of these nice guys will also be passive. They won't take a lot of initiative, right? They won't want to offend you, but this is a major, major problem, okay? So I'm not going to tell you that you should avoid all nice guys, but what I want you to be wary of is the fact that within this larger package of nice guys, you will get some men with some qualities that won't work for what you're trying to accomplish in your relationships, and we're going to break that down even more, okay? But let's start off with understanding how can some of these nice guys come in the nice guy package, but not be what we're looking for. Because remember, you cannot work in this relationship and sustain this relationship, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, if you're not both in the places you're supposed to be. Meaning, you as a woman, right? I'm assuming you're here because you're a straight heterosexual woman, you're attracted to men, or maybe you swing both ways, right? But the men you like, I'm assuming, are masculine men. Meaning, you like guys who will make you feel at ease in your feminine energy. You will not feel like you're in your feminine energy if he has any of these qualities here. Passive, doesn't want to offend you, doesn't want to take initiative on things, right? We can also add in here the also infamous shy guy. Oh my God, I hate shy guys. I hate shy guys. Maybe it's because I'm not one. I just hate them. I hate them. I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't want them for you. I don't want you with the shy guy. I don't want you talking to a shy guy. I don't want you messaging a shy guy. It's just very annoying, very scary for me. I got to write this twice because it's so annoying. All right? Make this real nice because this is actually the key part of this. Shy guys can be nice guys too. And I know some of you are thinking to yourself, well, hey, Tomisin, I don't want a man who will cheat on me. I don't want a man who will lie to me. I don't want a man who will go behind my back. So I'm attracted to shy guys because at least I know I can control them, and at least I know I don't have to worry about them being loyal to me. But let me kind of break down to you and everything that we're going to discuss today why this can actually end up even worse for you than being with a quote unquote player, or even worse for you than being with a regular guy, okay? Because these nice guys that come in the form of shy guys who are passive, that don't want to offend you, that don't want to take initiative, don't actually help you accomplish your goal of being in your feminine energy and existing in a relationship with a masculine man. You might think it'll work for a little bit simply because he's not going to be bothered to cheat on you or go behind your back, but it ends up being an even worse outcome for you and everything that you're trying to accomplish. So let's hop into our point number 2. Does this make sense to you guys so far? Okay. I see some of your wheels are turning here on what we're talking about. Okay. And it's very important that you really soak in what I'm trying to say here in all of these points, because I want you, when you're meeting guys, to not just your only criteria to be, oh, I want a guy who treats me nice and is willing to be nice to me. That can't be the extent of your criteria. We need more for you, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why, okay? So, number 2. Okay? Super important here. I'm going to split this board up into 3 different quadrants here, okay? Okay, now we're gonna, I like to use visuals and analogies. This one will be pretty simple to follow along, okay? I want you to imagine, right, you're driving a car, and this car is like a pretty regular car. It's got 2 different modes of going, right? So we'll put here, we got the first mode, which is the brake here. And then we got this one here, which is the accelerator, okay? Actually, let me write that better. We'll say brake and go, okay? Right, just to keep it simple for you guys. Then, right, actually, I'll save this. So let's imagine in scenario number 1, you got your 2 different modes of getting by in this car. You have your brake, right? You're the brake foot pedal, and the go foot pedal, the accelerator, right? Just to keep it simple for all of you in different languages, right? So one is gonna stop the car and another one is gonna help the car go forward faster. The thing about this though is that you need both of these to actually be in a functional car. Why is that, you might ask? Well, why do I actually need both of these? Well, see, if you had a car that only had 2 go pedals, right? So you have one here that helps you go, and then you got another one here that helps you go. There would actually be a very large issue, and the issue would be in your safety. Because if you only have 2 go pedals, then this doesn't allow you to properly get to your destination in a safe way. Because yeah, you can speed up, but you can't slow down your speed. You can't make turns, and you can't even stop when you finally get to your destination, okay? Vice versa, if you have a car with only 2 large, right, brake pedals that only allow you to slow down, well, what use is that to you? Because cool, you can do all the braking you want, but you ain't even doing any moving in the first place. So you're gonna start at going at 0 miles per hour or 0 kilometers, and you're gonna stay at 0 miles per hour or 0 kilometers. So what's the point? You can't get anywhere with that. So the reason I bring up that example is because in relationships, everyone is meant to play a specific role. You gotta have a brake pad and you gotta have an accelerator, a go pedal, okay? And both of these things need to work in tandem in order for you to have a working car that can actually get you to your destination. So it's the same thing for you in your relationships. You're like the brake pedal, okay? And the man that you're with is like the go pedal. Now I'm gonna explain this to you very importantly on why this is the way that it is, okay? So we have you here, right? And we have your man who is the go pedal. Because the roles that you're meant to play in a relationship is that he, as the man in his masculine energy, should be the one progressing the relationship forward because of his desire for you and to be with you. You should be the one slowing things down and pacing them as need be because you understand giving him too much too fast is not going to work. And you understand that in order to create a sustainable relationship, there needs to be a specific pace that this relationship goes at, that both of you get the opportunity to learn each other, understand each other, and grow with each other to have a long-lasting, sustainable relationship, okay? But you can't have 2 go pedals because that's not going to work. You ain't going to get to your destination safely. You're going to crash. You also can't have 2 brake pedals because that ain't going to work either, right? Meaning, both of you are playing specific roles and you're supposed to fit in those roles very uniquely for a specific reason in order for things to be cohesive. You can't allow yourself to fall into the trap. It's a trap. It's a trap of being with one of those passive nice guys that I just described earlier. Because those passive nice guys will switch the roles on you and make you feel like instead of being the brake pad, which is your natural feminine position, right? Of being able to pace the relationship, tell him okay, and allow him to progress things forward, you'll feel like it's necessary for you to be the go pedal. Because you'll feel like because he's so passive, because he's so shy, because he doesn't want to step on anyone's toes, simultaneously, he also doesn't want to take initiative in this relationship in terms of progressing it forward. What do I mean by progressing it forward? When he sees you at a bar, a club, a whatever, okay? And he identifies that you're an attractive woman and he wants to actually get to know you. It takes a level of initiative and a level of courage and bravery to say, I seize that woman, beautiful, voluptuous woman. I seize how amazing she looks. I want to go up to that woman and I want to take an opportunity to shoot my shot, as the kids would say, right? And let her know that I am willing to put my own heart on the line because I want to get to know her. I want to tell her how I feel. I want to strike a conversation with her because I want to take this opportunity. I may not ever see her again, to ask her out on a date and explore a possible relationship with her. That takes courage. And in that scenario, when he does that, he's being the go pedal. He's progressing things forward. See, but these nice guys, right? They might look at you, but they're too scared to come up to you, right? They might have a conversation with you, but they're too scared to ask for your number. Okay? They might even talk to you and flirt back and forth with you, but they don't just want to come out and say how they really feel. And so you think to yourself, well, I'd rather have me a nice guy than have me a player. So instead of me waiting for him to finally have the courage to be the go pedal in this relationship, I'm going to do the job for him of saying, oh, I know that you like me, and I know that you want to be in a relationship with me, and I know that you really want to ask me out. So rather than me waiting for you to ask me out, I'm gonna, make us go on a date, and I'm gonna ask you out and basically set this up so that you meet me on Tuesday at 8 p.m. because I know that you're free and you know that you're free and I'm free at that time. We're gonna go to this exact restaurant because it's my favorite. You don't have to ask. I'm already telling you that's my favorite, and I'm sure it'll work for you too. Make sure that you wear a blazer because I like blazers, and I'll wear this, okay? Done, put it in your schedule, done. And you're thinking in your mind, oh, I caught me an amazing man. I caught me the exact man I'm looking for. Ooh, I got a loyal man. You don't, right? What you have is a nightmare on your hands. Because now you've just put yourself in a position where you're not taking the role on that you're supposed to be taking. You're actually taking on his role. And now he's forced to take on the brake pedal role, meaning the one that's pacing the relationship or just not saying anything. Okay? And you're in the position of the one progressing this thing forward, right? Sounds amazing at first until you realize something very, very scary after a while, okay? So we're gonna hop into point number 3. Does that make sense to you guys so far on what we're talking about? Someone said a nightmare? Trust me, we're gonna break it down. This will turn into a nightmare eventually. Sounds good at the beginning because you're thinking in your mind, just gonna take him out on one date. Once we get on the first date, he's gonna realize how much he likes me and how much he wants me, and we're gonna be living in this dream scenario, and I'm gonna have the exact man I was looking for. Yeah, right. All right, so let's hop into point number 3. Okay, very long word here. Sustainability. Now, let's use a little bit of a visual here so we can all understand what sustainability really, really means, okay? So, let's imagine here, I looked this up for you guys just to make sure I was getting this right, okay? So let's imagine here that you're running a marathon, right? So this is a marathon. And this marathon is going to be 50 kilometers, which translates to exactly 31 miles, because I know we all listening at different parts of the world, okay? So 50 kilometers, 31 miles, you're running a marathon. So you're starting off at this marathon at the very beginning. This is you here. And you're going all the way, right? You're going all the way here. Now, here's the thing about this marathon that you're running. This entire marathon is 50 kilometers, 31 miles. If you make the mistake, right, of the first 10 miles, right? So the first 10 miles here. If you make the mistake of sprinting, right? Let's say you got 10 miles here. You sprint this 10 miles, you go all out for the first 10 miles because you really want to make this time for this marathon and you want it to be real, real good, okay? What's going to happen is for the next, let's say 40 miles here, right? You're going to be extremely, oops, I said 40 miles. I should have said 10 kilometers. You get my point, chat. 10 kilometers and the next 40 I'd be doing so many different metric systems, all these different systems, okay? So you sprint for the first 10 kilometers, and then for the next 40 kilometers of the marathon, you have nothing left, okay? You're super tired, okay? Now, this sounds like a really basic analogy, but where am I going with this as it relates to your relationships? Relationships are all about sustainability. Meaning, it's not just about how do I feel right now in this current moment with this guy at this time in this place. It's also about how am I going to feel down the line, and is our dynamic, is the way that we approach our relationship sustainable for the long term? Because if we can't make a marriage out of this, if we can't be together for 20, 30, 40 years in this same dynamic here, what is the point of anything that we're doing here? Because we're not progressing towards any end goal. We're just seeing how we feel in the moment. But the problem is you're not always going to be in that moment. So why do I bring up this analogy? Because in a marathon, in order for you to complete it successfully, you're going to have to gauge what is the level of effort and exertion I can give out on this long marathon that will give me a good time, right? That I'll finish in a really good time, but won't allow me to feel so exhausted that I end up having to walk the rest of the race. I have to find a pace and a rhythm that is comfortable for me in my breathing, in my legs, right? In everything that I'm doing, in my movement, that feels good enough that I can sustain it, but not so relaxing that I end up having a bad time, right? And that I don't finish on time. So how does that work in your relationships? You also have to be thinking about the sustainability element of dating the nice guy. Because what happens a lot of times is you can end up dating this nice guy that is passive, that doesn't take initiative, that doesn't want to offend, so he also doesn't want to progress this relationship too much because he's scared of offending you. Then what happens is you ask him out on a date, you start dating him, and this becomes the pattern of behavior that both of you become accustomed to, and the dynamic that both of you become accustomed to, because both of you start getting used to the idea that rather than him taking the initiative to say, I want you and I want to date you, so I'm going to act on it by doing this or asking you out or, scheduling a date with you, he sits back and he continues to do nothing because he doesn't want to offend. He doesn't want to assert himself. And you instead assert yourself and say, okay, we're going to go on a date today and we're going to do this. All he says is, okay, we're going to go here and we're going to do this. Oh, you need to do this for me and I need you to do it like this. You're thinking in your mind, okay, he just does it, so I'm happy and everything's good. But what ends up happening is this is what you need in order to even sustain the relationship now. And what started off as he's a shy guy, so I'll ask him out on a date because I think it's so cute that he's shy and he's a nice guy, right? That won't cheat on me, ends up becoming a slow nightmare. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Because now that you ask him out on the first date, how do you think you're going to get the second date? By asking him out again. And then the third date, you ask him out again. Until finally, the only way you're dating this man that you're now in a relationship with is by being the man on a continuous basis. And I don't just mean at that point with asking him out on dates, but I mean a man in terms of the entire relationship. And you'll slowly realize that in order for the relationship you've now built a foundation on this way, in order for it to even exist, you have to do everything the man should be doing in a relationship, which is a very bad place for you to be. And this is really where the nightmare starts, because everything else begins to fall apart once you have to be the man in your relationship in order to sustain your relationship, okay? Because remember, the nice guy isn't just a nice guy for one night. He's not just a nice guy who's passive for one date. He's a nice guy because that's his personality, to be passive, non-intimidating, and not assert himself in anything, right? He would rather you come to him. Sounds good because you're thinking you'll have a man who doesn't cheat, but now you're in a position where you need to continue doing this for multiple dates and months and months and months and years now in order for this relationship to continue on. So now let's kind of break down what happens in the process of you having to do this to sustain your relationship. This is really where the nightmare starts. And I'll warn you, for those of you who don't like graphic details, probably time for you to exit the chat. For those of you who don't like to get specific on things, probably time for you to exit the chat. For those of you who are under the age of 20, probably time for you to exit the chat, because we're going to talk about some grown adult stuff here, and I have to get real with it and graphic with it in order for it to make a lot of sense here. All right, so point number 4. Okay, tell me, chat, are all the under 20 people gone in the chat? I'm looking in the chat. Someone tell me, all the under 20 people gone, because I don't want to be sharing this information and there's some teenagers in the chat. Okay, please, let's make sure. I want to make sure, right? Very important for point number 4 here. Okay, I'm going to draw something first and then we're going to discuss. Okay, so if this is not going to make sense when I first draw it, don't worry though, we're going somewhere very important. Very, very important. We're going somewhere. Okay. So we have here, you guys know I can't draw very good, so you can't be expecting anything that nice here. Okay. So the reason I drew this like this kind of looks weird, okay, is because when it comes to attraction, obviously point number 4 is attraction. When it comes to attraction, you have your mind here, and then you have your body here, okay? And body here. So the reason I'm separating them is because they're separate in terms of, their operation, right? You can think things and you can feel things in your heart that are a little bit different. But what happens in this situation when it comes to attraction is these things are connected, especially for you, okay, as a woman. This is the problem, and this is where the nightmare starts. See, you're dating the nice guy, and he was really nice at the beginning, really shy at the beginning, super cute at the beginning, because he's such a nice guy, super innocent. Now that you're having to sustain the relationship by being the man in your relationship, here comes the nightmare. Because remember, I told you about roles, and I told you about how the man is naturally supposed to be like the go pedal, the acceleration, and you're naturally supposed to be like the brake pedal, pacing things and allowing yourself to take your time. Now, in this scenario in which you're having to be the go pedal and you're having to be the one who's assertive, you've now taken a role on of masculine energy, okay? Which subsequently means that your man has now taken the role on of some feminine energy. So now something very interesting is happening in your mind, okay? You've become a man, more like a man, and he's become more like a woman. And so now when you're seeing this man, when you're perceiving this man, right? When you're perceiving this man, you're seeing something, because remember, you're a heterosexual woman who's attracted to masculine men. When you're looking at your man and your man is starting to embody a lot of qualities of a woman, very passive, non-assertive, doesn't want to offend anyone, right? Doesn't want to speak up for himself. Now you're starting to become very turned off, right? You're turned off because your perception and what you're seeing of that man is not in line with the kind of character traits or energy that you're even attracted to. Remember, you're a straight heterosexual woman. You like masculine men. But you've chosen a man who has more feminine traits because you thought that would be easier on your heart, okay? Because you thought that would be easier on a relationship. To choose the shy guy who wouldn't cause you too much trouble by going behind your back or cheating on you or sleeping with other women. But now that you've had to sustain this relationship with this nice guy, your mind is not really connecting with what you're seeing because you're perceiving and seeing your man not as a man, you're seeing him more as a boy, or in some cases, more like a woman. So now, this is the reason I kind of separated them. This mind is now speaking to this part of your body right here. Okay? Right? There's a reason I'm drawing it like that, okay? If you notice what I'm circling. Your mind is now speaking to particular parts of your body. And because these things are all interconnected, your perception of your man is now going to affect what goes on down over here in a way that's very difficult for you to control. Because if this isn't stimulated properly in the way that actually works for you for what you're attracted to, this isn't going to be stimulated properly. Now we have a major problem, okay? Because not only are you in a relationship where you have to be the go pedal, but now this part of your body is not working right. And trust me, if you've been in this situation before, there's nothing you can do to start making this work right if this isn't working properly. You've now hit a wall. You're with a man that you essentially control because he's so passive that you took control of everything, and now you get the relationship, quote unquote, that you want, right, so to speak. But now this part of your body is not working right because truthfully and honestly, this part of your body is not perceiving anything that you're even attracted to, really. And this is where I'm going to get a little bit graphic. Now, when you're laying in bed with him and you're saying, throw me against the wall, okay? Take control, slap me in the face, spit in my mouth, disrespect me, because you want to feel like you're with a man. It's not unnatural, okay? Everyone has their thing. You want to feel like you're with a man. Now, when you ask for those things, he's like, slap you? I don't know if I can. That's too hard. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? No, slap me harder. I can't do it. I can't slap you. Why do you want me to slap you in the face? Why do you want me to spit in your mouth? That's so disgusting. Don't you have any self-respect? You're like my queen. You're like my princess. I can't do that to you. Now you have a major problem. This is a major problem. Because now you're going to start becoming very frustrated. You want a man who will be assertive and take some control. But you can't shake the control out of him now. You can't yell the control out of him now, right? You can't whip him into shape and force him to be a man. There is no magic potion to now all of a sudden get this nice guy to take some control now. Okay? And this is where the nightmare really begins. Because now, not only are you in a place where you're having to do all the work to sustain the relationship in a non-intimate sense, but now when it comes to what's going on with your body, you can't build yourself up to be attracted to the man you're in a relationship with. Now we have a couple of problems happening at once. Not only are you finding it difficult to be attracted to your nice guy that you've chosen, but now when you go out into the workplace and you meet a big, strong, big dog that comes and talks to you like your boss or someone with authority or just has that masculine aura that you've been craving, now all of a sudden you're having Wattpad fantasies about your coworker. Now all of a sudden you're having Wattpad fantasies about your boss. Now all of a sudden you're having Wattpad fantasies about your trainer. And everything is starting to spiral out of control. Do you see how this actually becomes a nightmare? Because now you're trying to stop your body from being attracted to the super masculine big dog men. And at the same time, you're trying to turn your passive, nice, shy guy into one of those big, strong men. But because this is not his personality and because you chose that man and his personality because it was convenient for you in that moment, now, as you're looking back on your decision, you're kind of thinking to yourself, maybe this wasn't the way to go. Because now, not only is the mind not connecting right, but the body's not connecting right, and things are starting to spiral out of control. Your attraction is no longer for your man, right? Because you're having to do so much in order to get him to be a man. And simultaneously, now that attention, that frustration is now being channeled into some different man who is showing you that type of energy, okay? And this can become a very tricky place because now you're already committed to this man. And at this point, you and him might already be boyfriend and girlfriend. In some cases, you might already be married. I've seen Vanessa say 15-year relationship, okay? Right? I'm not trying to diss these men, but you just have to understand some things are not going to work for you, not because of the reason you're thinking, but because of what you actually need out of a relationship and out of a man, okay? And this attraction part is very important. And I'm not just talking about a guy being physically attractive. That's the problem with the nice guys, is the nice guys can also come in the package of being physically attractive. The problem is just because he's physically attractive, if he doesn't have that masculine energy to progress the relationship forward and take some control and go after what he wants, this is not going to work properly. When you're trying to date these men that can't be bothered to ask you out on a date, not because they're mean or anything, and not because they want to ghost you, but simply because they can't just say what they want, that's not gonna work for you. Doesn't matter how attractive he is. It doesn't matter how tall he is. It doesn't matter how much money he has. If he does not have that masculine energy to go for what he wants, like you need, right? And he's too nice, he's too passive, he's so shy, right? That's not gonna work for what you need as a woman. Right? And it's damn sure not going to work for what your body and your mind needs, because there's a reason you read those damn Wattpad stories, right? It's affecting your mind, which is lubricating all over here, right? It's very connected for you. So if this up here isn't getting stimulated properly because you're seeing your man as a boy, or you're seeing him more as this feminine energy, all of this is definitely not going to be working properly, okay? And then you're going to be really sad, really frustrated, and God forbid, big strong man comes around you, because now we don't know how things might end up, okay? You shouldn't be lubricated for your coworkers. Shouldn't be lubricated thinking about your boss or about your trainer. That's not good, okay? If you're in that position, we need to backtrack and figure out some stuff and how we can change some stuff for you. You shouldn't be fantasizing about these other men in your life. And if you are, there's a very specific reason for that. Something's not getting taken care of. And sometimes it's not even the fault of the man. It's because that's his personality and that's just not going to work. Okay? Right? Nothing wrong with nice guys, but at the end of the day, you're attracted to what you're attracted to. We can't control that. Okay? So I don't want you to make that mistake of choosing those nice guys, that type of nice guy, and then finding out later that you're very frustrated with your decision and you've already made the decision there. All right? Let's hop into our next point. Okay, here. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Are we all on the same page, right? Blair says you end up being a servant or his mom. Very similar to that, right? Where you kind of almost have like parent-son relationship, mother-son relationship. Now, number 5, kind of the, well, it's kind of like the ending of how this goes a lot of times when you end up with one of these nice guys after a while, okay? I'm going to explain it to you kind of like this. This would be the best way for me to help you understand this in a road analogy and visualization. So the man, he starts off right here, right, on his journey. And on his journey of just life, okay, he always has choices, okay? So in a man's life, he always has choices. What can happen after a while of you being with a nice guy and you having to sustain the relationship with this nice guy by doing everything for him, by taking on that more masculine role, by being like that go pedal? What's going to happen is at a certain point, this nice guy is going to come to a crossroads and he's going to say, okay, I'm here and I have this decision to make. I can either be a man and do what I actually do some critical thinking as to what I want to do, how I feel about that, where I want to go, how this works for me, if it doesn't work for me. And I'm talking about even in the smallest of small situations or decisions, right? Or I can just go with whatever she wants, okay? Not think about what I need, not think about what I care about, not think about the consequences of that decision. Just simply go with what she wants, how she wants to do it, when she wants to do it, okay? This is the problem, though. This is the problem. As they make this decision more and more, and I'm not talking about doing something for you because he actually wants to see you happy. I'm talking about just doing what you tell him to do. So instead of asking you out on a date, he just says okay to you, saying, hey, let's go here. Instead of taking initiative and all this time he's been staring at you, going up to you and actually having a conversation with you, you come up to him and he just starts talking to you after you talk to him, right? All of these things, right? As he continues to take this path, just go with whatever she wants. Go with whatever she says. Don't make any suggestions. Don't do any critical thinking. Just allow her to control the relationship. As he continues to choose this path, what eventually happens is he stops even realizing that this path is here, okay? He actually forgets that this path to do his own critical thinking and make his own decisions even exists. And all he does is take the path of least resistance and go with whatever you end up wanting him to do, right? Because remember, sustainability is important. And now at this point in your relationship, in order for you to even sustain it, you've had to become so demanding. You've had to become so bossy. You've had to tell him exactly what you want, how you want it, and when you want it, okay? Before he's even asked you about that. Now you're in a position where all he does is take this path all the time. Okay? But the problem is, at a certain point, he becomes an adult. He has children with you. You guys grow together. And then at one random day, just one random day, you can't even suspect it or expect it, he wakes up and he says, oh my God, I'm literally 50 years old. I'm 50 years old and I've spent my entire life taking this road where I'm doing whatever she wanted me to do. And I haven't realized that for the last 25 years of my life, I haven't been making any decisions for me. I haven't done anything that I wanted to do. I didn't drive the car I wanted to drive because she told me we should get a minivan instead. I didn't, go the places I wanted to go because she told me I shouldn't travel to those places and I should just have a family instead. I didn't do any of the things that I wanted to do for myself or my career because she advised me to do something else that was closer to her instead of doing what I was passionate about. I spent the last 25 years of my life doing what she wanted me to do. And then what happens is they wake up one day and they say, enough! I'm tired of doing what you want me to do. I've been making you happy for the past 25 years. Now, for the next 25 years of my life, I'm gonna make me happy. So you know what he does? He buys himself a sports car, okay? Right? A sports car that you guys can't afford in this family, right? He goes and he starts going out to clubs and bars. He's 50 years old, going out to clubs and bars with your sons, right? He starts doing all these things, and all of a sudden you realize now he's going to these clubs and these bars. He's hanging out with 25 and 21-year-old girls. And now he's got him a little 21-year-old girlfriend. And you're wondering, why are you living your life like a teenage boy? Why are you living your life as if you're 21? Okay, this actually really happens. Why are you having this midlife crisis? Because a lot of these men, when they spend so much time doing what their wife wants them to do or doing what their woman wants them to do, we can even make it more general, they eventually wake up and they say, I resent you for doing all of what you wanted me to do and living my life according to you. But it's not your fault. Remember, you chose a nice guy. And in order for you to be with the nice guy, you had to assert yourself because that was the only way for you to sustain the relationship. But now that you've sustained the relationship by asserting yourself and telling him exactly what he should do and how he should do it, now he resents you for it. And because he resents you for it, he makes you pay for having to spend all that time doing what you wanted him to do and following your orders. And so it becomes a nightmare because after you've dealt with all of this stuff and all of these years trying to sustain this by being the man and bossing him around and being more demanding and telling him exactly what to do, thinking to yourself, well, at least I won't have a man that cheats. He only wakes up one day and resents you for all of that time he spent not being a man, doing what you wanted him to do and living his life according to what you wanted for him or told him he should be doing. And now he wants to take all of that time back, take all of those decisions back by making a whole bunch of, at that point, we would call selfish decisions for him and his own happiness, when he should have been considering that throughout the entire relationship, okay? So that can become the major problem with nice guys. You date them, you have to sustain the relationship by being the one who's leading it and progressing it forward, only to have him resent you in the end and either leave you, okay, or tell you he doesn't want to be with you anymore or doesn't appreciate you anymore because he spent all this time doing what you wanted him to do. Okay, and I don't want you in that position because all the same way a player will waste your time by ghosting you, by sleeping with you, and then just disappearing on you. These nice guys will waste your time, but instead of them, a guy who's just a player wasting 1 week of your life, maybe 3 months maximum of your life, these guys will waste 20 years of your life, okay? Because they'll go along with it and go along with it and go along with it until finally they don't feel like going along with it anymore, okay? And they have some epiphany or magical realization that they don't want to go along with this anymore. Then you're blindsided because you're like, what just happened? I don't even understand what's going on now. Where did you get all these issues from magically? They've always had the issues. They just haven't been speaking on their own issues, right? They haven't been speaking up for themselves because they don't want to offend. They didn't want to, make the decision because they were just accustomed to you making the decision. But now all of a sudden they want to take control of their life again because they've realized that time is very limited. Okay. It does happen. All right. And those of you who know exactly what I'm talking about. And those of you who haven't yet experienced it, it's exactly why I'm warning you about this so that it doesn't happen to you. Does that make sense to you guys so far? And why these 5 points are so important, okay? You guys have any questions about this, okay? I know it's quite a detailed one, but I really wanted to make sure that we cover this. We haven't gotten an opportunity to cover nice guys in detail because we talk so much about players, we can kind of forget that you're looking for something very specific, okay? You're not just looking, your criteria, the extent of your criteria isn't just, I'm looking for a guy who won't cheat. Because sometimes when that becomes your only criteria, the first guy who's nice to you or treats you like a decent human being, you assume that's what you're looking for. But you need a lot of things simultaneously as a woman, okay? Someone said recap, please. Okay, so for those of you who missed any of the points that we discussed here on the show, all of my points that I talked about are available because this live stream is being recorded because I'm also live on YouTube at the same time as TikTok. So all you have to do is go over to my YouTube page, which is just my name, Tomisin Atobatele. And you can, once you get to my YouTube page, you'll see me live there. You can rewind the entire live and even afterwards, it'll be saved there for you to rewatch all the points, all the points in their entirety, okay? So for any of you that missed any of the points and you wanna get them, it's all available on the YouTube channel. So I don't even have to repeat them for you. You can get them in their detail as I said it, okay? Because I know this is very important information that some of you might have came late for, all right? Does that make sense to you guys? By the way, if you have a personal question for me, maybe you're in this situation right here where you've been in a situation with a nice guy or you're with a nice guy right now and you're like, Tomisin, what you're talking about really speaks to me. I don't know how to get myself out of it. Or even if you're not in that situation and you just have another question about a relationship and you want to ask me, you can go ahead to my TikTok bio, link in my bio, or the link in my description on YouTube. And when you go there, click where it says private relationship advice. And you can ask me a question about your relationship or your situationship, and I will respond to you. No one else sees it via your email, and I'll send you a voice message, okay? No one else sees your question except for me, and you can send them in that way, all right? Now, you guys have any questions about any of this stuff that we discussed here today, okay? Let me scroll up because I see some of you guys have some questions for me. Okay. Great Fortune Cookie says, I would like to know if you differentiate between nervous around you in the beginning because he likes you and shy. Is it all the same? My personal opinion, my personal opinion is that if nothing wrong with being, a little bit nervous around you, okay? And, and talking to you, we all get nervous about different stuff. Maybe me, I don't get nervous, but most of us, we all get nervous, okay, about different things, even talking to a beautiful woman such as yourself, right? The thing about it is, if that nervousness will stop him from actually taking action and going for you, which he believes that he wants, then that's a problem. Okay? Because that's a personality trait that's not just going to disappear in an instant. And so if you're the one that needs to jumpstart that relationship by helping him get over his nervousness, that's not good. We need a guy that, yes, he can be nervous around you because you're super pretty, but still his nervousness will not paralyze him or stop him from doing or taking action, because that's not going to work. If his nervousness will stop him from taking action because you're just so mesmerizing and stunning, that's not the type of situation you want, because then at that point it becomes your obligation or responsibility to step in and fill in the gaps for his shyness and nervousness, in which case you're going to be in the situation right here, right? Nicole donates $5 in the YouTube chat. She says, I need to leave early today, but great show as always. It makes perfect sense. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate that, okay? Great Fortune Cookie, she donates 50 DKK. I still don't know what currency that is, but I believe it's $10. I think you said it one time, right? So thank you so much for your donation, and thank you to those of you who donated in the live, in the TikTok chat. Let me scroll up here. Noel says, listen to Tomisin. My ex would say often, well, you can ask me out if you want to go out on a date. I was like, damn, little mama. He liked men though. Oh, that was oh, okay. That was quite that was a turn of events I didn't expect. All right. But yeah, so you guys see my point, right? That you can end up in a position where you're actually now having to, in order for you to get this relationship to work, you have to continue being the man for it to even work. And then what are you supposed to do then? Okay. It's very unfortunate. Okay. I don't want that for any of you. Lotus says, why is he not brave? It's sometimes just the personality of a man. Not to be offensive to any of them. I know I always diss video game players, but every guy has their own little thing. But the reason I say that is because some personalities just aren't going to work for you and what you need, okay? And what you're attracted to. It's just how the cookie crumbles. And you can't spend too much time feeling sorry for the nice guys or the shy guys. That's the other thing that I didn't even mention in today's show. Sometimes you're giving a nice guy or a shy guy a chance because you almost feel bad for the fact that he's so nice and shy that you feel like, oh, if I give him a chance, I'm doing a good thing because, he probably deserves that for being a good guy. You can't be worried about that. You have to be worried about your own specific happiness. And if the guy that, you are attracted to is a guy that will actually take some initiative here, then you have to be honest with yourself about that. You can't give nice guys a chance because you feel sorry for them. Like, don't be dating people out of pity, okay? It doesn't work like that. Rosemary says, can they change? Theoretically, anyone can change because anything's theoretically possible. But a lot of times this is usually a personality trait. So it's very difficult for a guy who's, too shy to start asserting himself and going for what he wants to magically just be able to do that in an instant, okay? I'll just be honest with you about that. So expecting or hoping for that to change, I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't bet my money on it because it's usually more of a personality trait than it is something that just can casually come and go. But if a guy does change, you'll know that because then he'll go for you, if that makes any sense, right? If the nice guy who likes you eventually becomes, the type of guy you're looking for, a proactive guy, a guy who actually goes for what he wants, if that guy goes from being nice and shy to being assertive and actually having some sort of dominance, you'll know that because then he'll go for you. So it'll be pretty clear that he's gotten over his shyness, right? And you won't have to do anything or in order to sniff that out. It'll be obvious because he'll start going for you. So that it makes it very easy for you to understand that and know when that's existing, right? Justice says, what if he doesn't ask me out? Then you guys don't go out. Very simple. Okay. I know that that kind of sucks to hear for some of you, because when I say, oh, if that guy doesn't ask you out, then you don't ask him out, then you're thinking to yourself, well, Thompson, we ain't gonna go on no date. Yeah. And I don't even want you to spend any time or energy on a date with the guy who can't be bothered to ask you out. Because do you think that's going to magically end because you guys go out on one date? Right? You think because you ask him out on the first date that all of a sudden the next 25 dates is going to be him asking you out? That don't work like that. Okay, that don't work like that. Starshishi says, can you please tell me what the first four were? It's all on my YouTube channel, so you can just go onto my YouTube channel because I'm live there as well. When you go onto my YouTube channel, you'll be able to rewind it there and see all of the points that I discussed here. Okay, right? Melody of Psalm says, Thompson, I'm 25 years old. How can I date without using apps? I have been envied by so-called friends, so I don't have any at the moment. My always first most important piece of advice to you is just start going places that you enjoy outside of the club or the bar. Okay. Find some interests for you that require you to go out of the house. And my personal advice to you is see if you can merge that interest around some sort of community of people that you can go out and meet with. So if you like reading books, see if there's a book club that you can join, right? Where you guys actually meet up. If you like, athletics, right? You like going to the gym, see if there's some sort of class you can join that is on a weekly basis or whatever that you can start going to and like being around people. Once you start going to a place that you find interesting, the pressure diminishes of saying, oh my God, I'm here to meet men. Because when you have that pressure on you that I'm dressing and I'm going here specifically to meet men, if you don't meet someone you like, it becomes very deflating. Or, because you're a woman, if no guys come up to you, it becomes very deflating. And now you start to feel horribly about yourself because you don't think you have any value or self-worth because the place you went to meet men, no men came up to you. Whereas if you go somewhere because you're interested in that thing, if a guy comes up to you or not, it doesn't really affect you or the fun or enjoyment you get out of doing the thing. So now if a guy does come up to you, you're in a way better energetical place to receive and be in your feminine and give off the kind of vibrant energy of your personality that you want people to see of you. Does that make sense? Okay. Communities are so important. Nanya says, my problem is that I was way too in love with this one man. I've been deflecting other men and tossing numbers because I just want this one. That seems like he seems like such a nice guy. Trust me. That I should have even added that as one of the points because that can be the other problem. When you're invested in the super nice guy, you can find yourself in a position where you're turning down other men who will actually pursue you for the trying to be with this and make this work with this nice guy, which is an even more horrible mistake. Imagine you're turning down the men who will be assertive and take initiative by dating you to be with the guy who won't do that, right? Even though he's nice, even though he's friendly, even though he's not taking advantage of you in the way that a player would, it still becomes a waste of your time, okay? Right? And I don't want that. Bunny says, I have to mask, so not meeting anyone. What do you mean? Like you have to put on a mask, like a figurative mask in order to meet people? Is that what you mean in terms of meeting people? Someone recommended a run club. Honestly, I'll be super real with you guys. Probably my top pick right now, because I'm working on something very important, but my top pick for any of you who want to meet new people that are single, my top pick is the run club, okay? I will keep that a little secret. We don't want to spread that too far. I showed you guys, maybe if you guys want, I can show you guys again today some videos on TikTok about run clubs, because run clubs, that's where you can meet some people, I tell you. And there's run clubs in a lot of places. Any of you, if as long as you live close to a major city, semi-close, at least even like an hour drive away, trust me, run clubs are going on in every major city, and you can meet so many I saved a video the other day, I think it was on Instagram, and it was about this couple's story that met at a run club, okay? Very good place to meet people in a place that's not drinking or alcohol involved, with people with positive mindsets, a growth mindset that actually want to build relationships, not just people who are looking to sleep with you, meeting you that same night, okay? Someone said run club, like jogging. Yeah, so in the run club, everyone meets up at a specific area and then they plan to a route that they're gonna all take. You can run, you can jog, you can walk at whatever pace that you want, okay? And there's lots of people that do all of the different paces. Don't think that run club means I have to be a marathon sprinter, okay? Like that's not how it is, right? You don't have to even be super in shape to go to a run club. There's all different shapes and sizes and body types that go to run clubs. But the whole purpose is, right, you go there, you join a community of people, and then you get to be around a community of people that are focused on bettering themselves. Because the opposite happens when you go to a regular club. Because when you go to the regular club or the strip club or the bar, right, you actually end up meeting a lot of people that are specifically in the mindset of just, using drugs and alcohol to mask their problems. Not saying that everyone that goes to a club is of that mindset, but you end up indirectly surrounding yourself around people who are usually more in that mindset, versus going to the run club and then you meet people who are focused on growth and bettering themselves, right? And at least you get a better chance of meeting the opposite, pool of people who are more in line with what you're looking for. Are you following me, right? What I mean by that is if you go to a regular bar, you're more likely to meet someone who's an alcoholic than you are to meet someone who is, having all of the qualities you want in a man. Are you following me? Versus going to a run club, you're more likely to meet a man who has a lot of the qualities and character traits that you're looking for in a healthy, eventual husband, if that makes any sense, right? Um, Someone said I had a major reconstructive surgery on my ankle, so I can't run anymore, but walking, yes, you can definitely trust me, chat. The run club is, run club's the wrong word for it because you can do whatever you want there. You can just go there and walk, and there's lots of people who walk there, okay? It doesn't have to be just running, right? Um, Someone said, Nolsa, can you please do an episode or rant on Gamer Boys? It would just be me ranting. I don't think there'll be many good tidbits of information there because I'll just be telling you how much I hate it, okay? I don't know if that would be very helpful for all of you. Someone said I'd be out of breath, but I heard it's good at meeting people. It is good for meeting people. Definitely very good for meeting people. Someone on the TikTok chat said it's freezing. Hopefully that resolves itself momentarily. I'm not sure why that's happening for you guys. Is it okay for you guys on YouTube there, right? Okay, chat. Let's hop into our next segment of the day. Our next segment is going to be our react segment where I, react to TikTok videos and other videos that you guys have sent to me around the universe, around the world. And we react to them, we respond to them, we laugh with them, and we have some commentary on them, okay? So before we hop in there, make sure if you have a question for me that you want me to answer for our Discord time, which is coming up at the end of the show, you ask your question in there because that's where I'll be responding to all of your questions about relationship advice and situationship advice, and I answer them live on the show. So make sure you drop your question into our relationship advice forum in our Discord. That link's in my TikTok bio or in the link in my description there for you. Okay, so we're gonna have a little intermission here. We're gonna watch an intermission video that comes from Matthew Hussey while I clean up and get ready for our reaction segment. And he's going to be talking to you guys about essential lessons on heartbreak everyone needs to hear. It's only going to be a minute, and then I'll be back with you guys momentarily, okay? Matthew Hussey, take it away. I said, Matthew Hussey, take this thing away. And he's not. He's not taking it away. Okay. Okay, Mr. Matthew Hussey. Do you want to play hardball? We can play hardball. Mr. Matthew Hussey, we can play hardball if you want to play hardball. There we go. Yeah. Mr. Matthew Hussey wants to play hardball. We can play hardball. It's okay.
about how right for us someone is. If we show a part of our lives, if we invite someone home for the weekend and they meet the family and they go, I can't do this, I'm out, then that's a crucial piece of data, especially if your family is really, really important to you. If they can't even stick around for that, or at least respect that relationship and say, you know what, God, you have a crazy family, but we'll figure it out. If they can't deal with that part of you, and it doesn't have to just be something external, it could be something internal, you revealing more about yourself, then that's a great data point that this person doesn't really see you and doesn't really accept you. That's really, really important to know. So many of us look at these moments that, feel like it all went wrong after that moment, after I revealed that thing, after I spoke that insecurity, after I introduced them to this part of my life, my reality of the fact that I am a single parent, the reality of the fact that I have a disability that can make life difficult for me sometimes and that I have to manage, or the reality that I'm looking after a sick relative. We're so... When we introduce people to a part of our lives like that, and then as a result, it looks like they bolted, that was the moment they broke up with us, we pinpoint that as the exact moment where somehow we screwed up. Where if I'd have just not introduced them to that, if I hadn't said that thing, then they would still be with me. I screwed up, or my situation is bad. Instead, we have to start flipping it and saying, that was a chance for me to see if this person really accepted me in my life. And if the answer is they didn't, then this isn't the right person for us. You didn't screw it up by introducing them to your life. You got the piece of data you needed to discover they weren't right for you. Number 2, in order to get that data on whether someone is right for us, we have to actually introduce someone to our real life. We should ask ourselves the question, why is it sometimes it's so long?
Okay, Chad. Okay, Chad. Let's do this. Okay, Chad. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Mr. Matthew Hussey in the chat. Why did this go back? What just happened? Okay, we'll open a new one. Okay, a new one. We'll go to TikTok. Let's see here. TikTok. Okay. Here we go. We'll open this up and let's get started on our first video of the day in the TikTok world. All right, let's see what our first video here is. What we got here, what we got here, what we got here. We started here.
Sending your life around.
If a man
Self-sabotage on the talking stage.
I hate when it does this. Okay, I clicked one.
How a man treats a woman he finds unattractive is how he feels about women. How he gives when he has nothing to gain is how generous he is. And who he is when nobody is watching is his level of character. How a man treats a woman he finds unattractive.
I agree. I have no notes for this. The one thing I would also add as well, because some of the things that she talked about, you probably not going to see because she's referring to things that you probably wouldn't notice because you're not there when he's doing those things. Another thing to notice is how he lives his life, right? And what I mean by how he lives his life is what he decides to do with his time, his energy, and how he goes about accomplishing his goals or not accomplishing his goals in some cases.
If a man won't commit to you, it's because he is using you. That sounded harsh. Let me explain what I mean by that. A man won't commit to you, it's because of one of these 4 reasons. He's either keeping you as backup while exploring other options, he's too broken or emotionally unavailable to step up, he's just not that into you, or he's comfortable with the current situation. He could just be enjoying the benefits of a relationship without the responsibilities that come with commitment. He might fear losing his independence, or maybe he's worrying that commitment would force him to sacrifice his freedom. Maybe he doesn't see a future with you, but he doesn't have the cojones
Ah,
things
I
with
didn't
you.
watch
But
this.
guess
I knew it.
what? You can end it. Yeah, you can end it. You are someone to build with, not to pass time with. Unless that's something you want. I mean, if a man won't commit to you.
Don't waste your time with guys who won't commit to you. Or at least they see, okay, let me also rephrase that, because a guy doesn't have to come up to you and say, oh, I want to marry you as soon as he meets you. But you do want to see some level of intentionality with, why am I even asking you out? Because I want to date you and get to know you. To do what? To see if you could be someone that, you know, we eventually get serious, right? To do what? To eventually marry, to eventually get engaged, right? To do what? To eventually have a family, to eventually, grow old together, right? And you'll get a sense of that over the course of time, that he continues to want to progress things with some sort of end goal. Guys who won't commit to you, they will never have an end goal. It'll just be about enjoying himself in this moment, which is useless for you.
Self-sabotage on the talking stage comes in one of three ways. It's crucial you stop making one of these three mistakes so you can finally have the relationship you want. See, if you're self-sabotage number one, you're highly independent, extremely logical, like to keep things surface level, and struggle to be vulnerable. In fact, you usually meet great options. However, you nitpick them and find little small things because you have an extremely high standard. And so how you self-sabotage is that because of your extremely high standard, which you've created in order to not have to be vulnerable, because if people don't actually measure up to your standard, you'll never have to truly emotionally connect, you'll never have to actually be vulnerable, and you can continue to keep your independence and freedom. And so you subconsciously create an extremely high standard and begin to nitpick very small things in order to actually disqualify other options from being with you. So it's almost like you like the idea of a relationship, but not so much being in the relationship. And then you convince yourself that there's a perfect partner out there, that there's someone who's going to check every single box that you have. And so you pass up on really great options because you've convinced yourself that these small things are actually a really big deal, when in reality they're not. But you're just using these small things as a way to go ahead and box yourself from actually forming meaningful, deep connections with these great options. And to make matters worse, when you actually do give one of these options a chance and you all start dating or in the talking stage, you start obsessing over one of your previous great options and start phantom Xing. Yes, it's real, look it up. And the reason why you now start obsessing over a previous great option, even though you're with someone else, is because you now convince yourself that this other option was actually the one for you, but in reality, you are just doing this to keep yourself from having to emotionally connect with this person on a deeper level.
By the way, chat, this is exactly why I draw visuals on the board. Sometimes too much writing becomes overwhelming. I've seen some of you guys say someone said my OCD is spiraling. That's why I try not to do too much writing on the board. I just try to give you guys visuals because the board can become very confusing when there's too much writing. Anyways, I like this though in its essence, because the other thing to add to that is when you're dating people, you have criteria, yes, but what's even more important than your overall criteria, oh, I want a guy who's 6'5", oh, I want a guy who's, in finance, I want a guy blue eyes, trust fund. I want also you to kind of weight what are the most important character traits and personality traits to you and what your needs are and the things that you can't compromise on. Then from there, I want you to be open to the idea that you can meet someone with, different character traits or in different ways that will fit your basic needs or the most important things to you. And then for the rest of the things, you can kind of see how you feel about them and see if you can work with those things. Because the idea that, yes, you will have some things that are important to you, and yes, you want to date intentionally and know what you want when you're dating, but you also have to understand the process of knowing exactly what you need to a T is assuming that you know exactly who you are as a human being. And none of us really know the answer to that. We're always kind of figuring ourselves out as time goes on and we grow and change. So I say that to say there are certain qualities that you might not even realize you mesh well with or needed until you actually have that type of person in your life. But if you keep the weighted scale of the most important things to you, then you'll realize as long as I have my base requirements, other things I can work with, or at least see how I feel about them by dating those people and then realizing if it's, can work out or not. Okay. I know that sounds a little bit complicated, but what I basically mean is have priorities when it comes to the qualities you're looking for, but then don't be so quick to say, oh, that's not who exactly textbook who I wanted, because, instead of him being 6'5" 3/4, he's 6'4" 2/2. Okay. That doesn't even make sense. That would be, you get my point, right?
If you want to know how to make someone fall in love with you, I'm going to tell you what to do. Now, please don't use this for evil, because you could potentially create a deep attachment that will take years to break. Okay, so this is what it is. To make someone fall in love with you, you make them feel like the person that they want to be. They fall in love with you by falling in love with themselves in your presence, the self that they want to be, not their insecurities about the self that they might think that they currently are. This works on both men and women the same. When you make a person feel seen the way that they want to be seen, they will attach that feeling to you, because the rest of the world is taking them at face value. Whatever they show, that is what's being reflected back to them. But not you. You're going to find out how they see themselves in their highest self, and you're going to reflect it right back to them. A man that wants to be powerful but currently has none. A woman that wants to be nurturing but is rough around the edges. Now you find out what that thing is by letting them open up. Spend more time listening and less time talking. Once you figure out what it is, you press on it. Tell him how powerful you think he is right now. Tell her how nurturing you think she is right now. Build it up. Become their mirror for their highest and greatest self, and the feelings that it will stir up in them, they will link to you. Because the way that we fall in love with people, places, and things is by how they make us feel. And the more someone loves themselves in your presence, the more they will love you. If you want to know,
we talked about this in one of our other shows. I can't remember what the title of the show was, but I talked to you guys about understanding a man's motivations and fears, because those will be the two major ways you're going to be able to understand how to push buttons, get him to take action on things without ever actually asking him to do something for you. The reason for that is because when you understand his specific motivations and fears, it's like a fingerprint. We're all unique in our own way, so we all have our own slightly different motivations and fears based on our childhood, based on our own unique experiences. When you can better understand that, that's how you better understand how to control someone. I don't have no else to say it in a nice way, because with that understanding, you know how to get them to move and do things for you without ever having to ask them for anything. But they end up feeling like they did it from their own volition, from their own intention, from their own inspiration, without realizing how you kind of controlled that situation from the shadows. Okay. So it definitely does work. And you can also use those same motivations and fears to get someone really, really invested in you. So I do agree with that.
If you really want to get your lick back, leave them in silence. Pay them dust. When I say not a peep from you, nothing. You need to be so unbothered that they are in their heads like, I cannot believe she hasn't texted me. She hasn't, begged me to come back. She isn't on my line blowing up my phone. She isn't asking any more questions. That really throws them off. But awesome. I keep telling y'all, Uno reverse. Everything that they did to you during that relationship, dragging you through hell and back, breadcrumbing you, giving you less than the bare minimum, it's time to return it on them, but in silence. Y'all don't understand how powerful your silence is. They'll be sitting around literally so confused as to why you left with no reaction. And to me, that is the best reaction. You want to continue playing in my face. You want to keep doing things in the dark. I'm asking you to change stuff and you're not changing it. Okay, I'm not going to ask any more questions. I'm going to leave. Because I deserve better. Because I know that what you're not doing, another man will do without me even having to ask. Because I know my worth and I know that I'm not settling for a loser. And so when I tell you to leave in silence, your plan should be so seamless, they shouldn't even know it's coming. They shouldn't even know you're plotting on leaving them. When you really, really leave, and everybody's situation is different, but when you really leave, they shouldn't even know. They should be so confused because you did it so strategically, just like they did everything to fuck you over. It's just your turn now. And they hate that. But no remorse.
But then you actually have to leave, though. That's the thing. I love when you guys say you're ready to do this and you're ready to do that and you know what you want and you know that this isn't for you. And I'm glad and I want to empower you and I want you to do all those things. But then you actually have to walk away, though. You can't walk away with the intention of coming back when he begs for you back, right? Like, if you actually want guys to feel it, I know, because all you guys, you say, I want him to feel it. I want him to regret losing me and things like that. And it's great. But you do understand the whole preference of him regretting losing you is to actually lose you, not just, I sad for a little bit and now I want to act right. There's a difference, okay? Just be honest with me, because me and you were friends. We spent a lot of time together. I love you. Hopefully you love me. When you're saying you want a guy to regret losing you, that's very different from saying I want a guy to treat me well, or I want him to realize that, he wants me and actually pursue me. Those are two different things. Those require, a little bit of a different strategy because you're looking for a different outcome here. And the reason I say that is because don't confuse those two. If you want him to regret losing you, then he actually has to lose you. If you want him to just, realize that he needs to act right, that's a totally different thing. Okay. Which, that's, we can strategize for that as well, but it is different.
Ladies, when he likes you, he likes you. When a guy likes you, he likes you. There's very little you can do to really F it up. One sentence you change here and one sentence you change
do nothing.
There, or one over text is not going to make him not like you no more. He's not trying to disqualify you. He's actually trying to qualify you.
You can disqualify yourself. Go on, though.
But when he likes you, he likes you. If he was going to ghost you, if he ghosted you after date 2, he was going to ghost you after date 12 after he got what he wanted. Ladies, hello, wake up. Stop getting over analytical on the details. Don't say, if I said that word, that's why he stopped talking. No, it isn't. He just didn't see you as his future wife. Period, end of story. It wasn't because you said something stupid. It wasn't because of this. It was because of a variety of factors, and it wasn't because of those small little details that you keep overemphasizing and overthinking. It was who you were. It was who you were. And over time, that can happen. And yes, interest is gain, but when he likes you, he likes you. Stop thinking that little small details are going to fuck it up. They're not. You could say the stupidest shit. He's still going to like you. He's still going to do shit. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Say a dumb word. Do you think he's going to care? No. But when your character comes out, and he sees you as a risk to him, as a liability to him, then he can start to change his mind. But the little...
So it does matter. I like Benny, man, but as you said all that to say that it does matter. It does matter how you present yourself. It does matter how you're perceived, and it does matter, the way that you talk and go about the relationship. Because if he likes you, you can say some things or do some things that will change his perception of you and will stop him from liking you. So we're at the same place in the end. We need to have Betty on the show, man. We're in the same place in the end because it all matters, okay? When you dig into the details and you try and understand what changes a man's perception or changes how he'll take action or approach you, you'll get more results and better relationships because you'll have more men pursuing you while you stay in your feminine and you're unbothered, okay, which is good. Whether you're the hottest girl around or whether you're a 3 out of 10, you can understanding how men take things in, receive information, what will make them chase you versus what will repel them away from you. All of that is things you can control. And all of that will actually make it easier for men to be attracted to you and be obsessed with you, and also make it easier for men to be very repelled by you. Okay. Or even when they do meet you after being attracted to you, all of a sudden they either ghost you or they flip the script on you and now you have to be chasing them. Okay. All of that matters. The more you relationships are just like anything else. Like I always like to remind you guys, when you strategize, you plan, you gain knowledge, you learn, you gather information, you get better, trial and error, you will see results like anything in life. If you choose to go in willy-nilly, I don't really care, I'm just gonna shoot, see how I can get what I can get by just going in and just doing whatever, you will get whatever results. You might luck up and win the lottery, but you also might see a horror story, okay? Right? Or you just might see inconsistent behavior from the guys. But I'm sure if you had to pick one of those results, you'd rather consistently have guys show up for you how you want them to show up for you, rather than just going in blindly and having varied results or having horrible results, okay? Because the chance that you'll go in blindly and win the lottery is slim to none, okay? Just being honest with you.
One thing I've seen, one thing I've learned. He will cheat on you with the bitch that does all the things that he doesn't want you doing, wearing all the things that he doesn't want you wearing. And you're going to be sitting there como una maldita zángana, just shocked, behooved. Why are you surprised, boo? I remember I was with this guy. He was like, I don't like when you wear lashes. Okay. Oh, I don't like when you wear your hair like that. Okay. I don't like when you do your makeup. Okay, so what the fuck do you want me to... I don't like when you wear short, revealing clothing. Okay, cool. I'll dress... Okay, but like you need to wear like sweaters. And then he'll make fun of me for dressing like that. Then I look at the bitch that he was texting behind my back. Lashes. Everything. Revealing clothing. No fucks. No limits. So that bitch could go about her business. But I'm getting...
Okay. I want to mention two things here that are very important from a guy's perspective. Number one, okay, you have to take what men say they want with a grain of salt. Because when they say they want something, a lot of times when they actually get exactly that, they won't respond to you well. And I talk to you guys about that a lot because it happens a lot. And I try to help you with that a lot by helping you reverse and see, oh, no, that's not really what he wants. What he really wants is this. Just say you get it, whatever, and do this instead, right? So this is kind of a little bit of an example of that. If a guy's telling you, oh, I want you to just wear the messy bun, wear sweaters, wear super oversized clothing, don't reveal your body in any way, shape, or form. Basically asking you to dress like a guy, right? You have to understand that while maybe wearing something super revealing, might not be the thing that you want to go to, right? You still want to make sure you're dressing feminine, like the girly girl you are, and not going so far into the extreme, because what will happen is when you take exactly what he's saying literally and you start dressing like a boy in oversized sweaters and baggy clothes, he'll say, ew, you don't really look that very nice. And then the first girl you're going to see him looking at is the girl who's dressed all feminine in a nice tight dress. So I say that to say, you got to take what they say with a grain of salt, right? I'm not saying you don't do anything that your man is asking for, but also understand realistically, how would you're telling me as a man who's attracted to feminine women, you're advising me as your woman to dress more masculine like a man, and you're attracted to feminine women. Realistically, how will you respond when the woman that you're with is dressing like a masculine man? You won't respond well. Or at least you won't give me the response that I want. So then you say to yourself, cool, whatever you say is whatever you say. But when I actually go and I get dressed, I'm going to find a happy medium between not being super revealing and also dressing nice and feminine and looking amazing. Because I know if I'm not looking amazing and feminine, you're not going to be attracted to me. So we can throw that out the window right now, right? That's what I mean by taking what guys say with a grain of salt. The second thing about that is there are different types of attention, meaning the attention he'll give, I'm not justifying cheating, but the attention he'll give to a girl that he cheats with or just, a random girl is not the same type of attention you give to a woman who you actually want to date and wife, all right? I don't make the rules, but I can explain them to you, right? So both of those are attention, right? So it kind of feels the same, but they're not the same type of attention, because I guarantee you, if I ask that same guy the girl that he cheated with, if I said, okay, now actually be in a relationship with her, he would laugh in my face because he would be like, bro, I'm not actually going to be in a relationship with her. I just wanted to bust a nut, Okay. So I'm not saying that to justify cheating. I'm just saying that to help you all understand guys can show women attention while they're different types of attention and they mean different things to the man, right? But they both feel like attention. Okay. So sometimes you can't get too hung up on the different types of attention that men will show different types of women. Okay. Because they mean different things. Right. But definitely the first part with the how you dress, don't listen to what guys say about if he tries to tell you to dress more like a boy, don't even listen to that. Okay. There's lots of happy mediums where you can dress like a feminine woman and still be very attractive to your man while also respecting the relationship. Don't ever listen to a guy who says that. Okay. Even the makeup stuff. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I just want to tell you a little secret. Majority of guys, they don't even really know the difference between foundation, concealer, highlight, bronzer. They don't really know what a regular bare face really looks like. Trust me, you might think that they're saying this because they know that they don't actually know the difference. Okay, they might know the difference between someone who really is caking it up, right, versus someone who has a little bit more of a subdued look, but they really don't know the difference that much. So when they're telling you, I don't like the lashes and I don't like the this and I don't like the that, like they're not even really conscious of the difference for real. Because most of the time when they're going out and they're seeing girls, they're seeing them done up. The only reason he's saying that to you is because he's seen you not done up. So he's obviously able to see the difference. But majority of the time, if you were to poll most guys and ask them, do you think she wakes up looking very similar to that or not? They wouldn't even be able to tell you that the difference. Like they would just say, yeah, her makeup she's probably not even wearing makeup. She looks pretty natural. And you'll be thinking to yourself, she has cat eyes, right? She has cat eyeshadow. You think she wakes up with cat eyeshadow? They don't know the difference. So don't take too much credence to that, thinking that it actually means that just keep doing what you're doing. Okay. Men like feminine women. Okay. If you want to have some sort of compromise, wear jeans instead of wearing a mini skirt. Okay. Like it's not like it doesn't have to be that complicated, right? They don't like men.
Before you call that man, have you DJ'd? Before you call that man, have you DJ'd?
I mean, I do kind of be telling y'all that, right? Before you go out on a date. Someone said, what is cat eyeshadow? Sorry, cat eyeliner. Sorry, I said cat eyeshadow. Did I say cat eyeshadow? Sorry. I meant eyeliner. I was going too hard. I wasn't even able to think of what I was saying. Cat eyeliner. I tell you guys this all the time. When you're going out on these dates, and it's not meant to be a joke, right? It's not meant to be a joke. Like when you're going out on these dates, if you're an ovulation monster, reschedule the date. I really mean that, right? If you know you have, some, like you're just having one of those days, go ahead and get you that Tracy's dog, rub one out, penetrate one out, suck one out if you got the Tracy's dog because it's like a vacuum, and go about your business. Okay? Because it'll give you a clearer mind and it will prevent you from putting yourself in temptation alley. Okay? Someone said, what is DJ? That's how you DJ, isn't it? So think about that. If you weren't actually DJing for some music, what would you be using this motion for? Okay? Let's be adults here. I'm not gonna break it down too far for you.
When you stop chasing him, one of two things happens. It's critical you understand this, so you stop making the same dating mistakes. When you stop chasing him, he, even if he's avoidant or nonchalant, will begin to get curious. See, if you are a lover girl, are very emotional and wear your heart on your sleeves.
See, you guys be thinking about the wrong thing. Someone said he a pro at doing I see you chat. That's not what, oh my God. I'm just demonstrating you guys be mind in the gutter.
Are extremely giving and consider yourself a hopeless romantic. You tend to attract people who are avoidant because the traits they repress, you express, which basically just means
nasty.
That you have traits that they admire, but don't have or know how to express themselves. But When you all start interacting romantically, whether dating or talking or in relationships, the same traits they admired and the same qualities they valued early on are the same qualities that then trigger them to run. So what does this have to do with you stopping chasing him? When you stop chasing him, he now doesn't have access to the traits that he once admired. Any negative perceptions he had of you begin to lower, which allows positive memories to now come to the surface. And the more positive memories there are, the more positive feelings there are, and the more positive
Chat, okay, this cannot become this type of chat. Someone said play with it some more. Like, I can't. Remind me to never have demonstrations on the show again.
feelings there are, the more positive memories there are, and the more positive memories there are, the more he gets curious about why he can't stop thinking about you. And if he's truly avoidant, begins to experience the Phantom X. No, I didn't just make this up. It's a real thing. Look it up. And he starts to see you as the one who got away. This is more likely true if you all were in a long-term relationship or in the talking stage for a long period of time, or just formed a deep bond, even if it was quick. When you stop chasing him, one of two things happens. It's critical you understand this, so you...
What's this video even about, chat? It's not a diss to him. You guys are throwing stuff so off topic, I can't even listen to the freaking video. Let me replay half of it so I can understand what he's talking about.
The same traits they admired and the same qualities they valued early on are the same qualities that then trigger them to run. But what does this have to do with you stopping chasing him? And you stop chasing.
We actually talked about this in another show with avoidance and how to thrive with an avoidant man. You literally cannot feed into exactly what avoidant men are accustomed to seeing from any woman in their life, because even secure ones can get triggered by avoidant men who are avoidant men who are really avoidant, because it feels unnatural to have someone that you thought was into you just purposely try to avoid you like this. And what naturally happens is most people's response is to pull closer to those men. But the men become accustomed to that response. And that even happens, I'm not even talking about just romantically, that even happens in platonic relationships with like their mother or their sisters or people that care about them in general. And so they become accustomed to people doing that and responding like that to them. So when you finally don't give them that response, all of a sudden you're changing the response that he gives, because when he's used to getting a particular response from being avoidant and you don't give him that response, being avoidant loses a lot of its luster, because it's not always necessarily a power play, but they do get accustomed to the rhythm of being an avoidant person. Okay. And when avoidants don't have that same, it doesn't have the same sheen being with you and being an avoidant, then they realize that they just actually get the space that they were asking for. That's the worst part of being an avoidant, right? Because when you ask for it and you actually receive it to the extent where you no longer want it anymore, and you're actually questioning why someone would give you that much space, well, then you only have yourself to blame as an avoidant because you asked for that much space. Okay. Which is exactly what we want for you, and they don't want. That's what the avoidants don't want. Okay. Someone said, can't stop thinking about DJ. Wow, chat. All right, chat. Let's hop into our next segment. Okay. Hopefully there's no more DJ talk in the next segment. Our next segment is for those of you who actually have a clean mind and want to learn something. Our next segment is a very special segment. It's an awesome time. It's an amazing time. It's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Okay. Cry in a good way, right? Not in a dirty way though. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. It's Discord time. Okay, chat, let's get serious. Discord time is a very amazing time. I'm going to explain it to you if you don't know how this works, okay? So Discord time is essentially where all the amazing members of our Players Club community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or their relationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can send in your question. I'm going to explain them to you briefly here. So the first way is by dropping in your question to our free relationship advice forum that you can access simply by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description on YouTube. Click where it says Discord, Players Club Discord, and you can drop in your question in our forum here. Now, you see, I have a couple that are highlighted because I haven't gotten to them yet, and I still have to get to them. That's because it's a first come, first serve basis. So in order for me to answer your question, I have to first go through these ones that have been unanswered. So it's going to take me some time to get to yours. I probably won't be able to read yours out today or tomorrow because of the queue. Now, if you want to skip this line of people who are waiting for their question, you can also do that by going into our premium relationship advice forum. Now, the only way you're going to be allowed to drop your question in there is if you first donate to the show by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description on YouTube. You go where it says premium Discord relationship advice. You click that, you donate to the show, you put in the title of your question and the title of your username, and then I'm able to verify that that's you because I get a notification on my phone like I did for these beautiful people in the premium Discord. And then that keeps it fair for everyone because these people get to skip the line. They don't have to wait because I answer their questions first before I go into the free section, okay? Now, you also can send in a question to me in our private relationship advice forum by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description, click where it says private relationship advice, and then you can send in your question to me if you don't want to have your information read out on the show, but you still want my response and my advice. You can send that in a private relationship advice message, type out as long as you want, and then I respond to you with a voice message, usually 8 to 10 minutes long, and I send it back to your email. No one else sees it but me, all right? Let's hop into our first premium question, which comes from Bubbly Mornings. Bubbly Mornings says, how do I proceed from here? Hi, Tomisin. This is my third Discord question. Nothing wrong with that. Just ask Anna. I'm the 34-year-old Asian seeing a 39-year-old man from Spain, and I met him on a dating app while he was in my country from work. That was last April. He recently came back here to spend time with me for almost a month. I need to give context about the current the current state of our relationship before I ask my question, so thanks for your patience. So before I traveled around my country with him, he met my parents, which, if you remember, was something I presented to him, had to be done so we could leave my town without my parents pretty much disowning me. Okay, fair. I recall you telling me in my previous message that there is an order to things and it might be too much to meet the parents when he comes. But you also told me that he's been very considerate thus far. So I laid my needs out on the table but didn't pressure him. I gave him the freedom to decide on his course of action. Good. That's a good decision there. He chose to meet the parents' option. And it went very well. Always good when you allow the man to make his own decision, because then he is okay with the decision he made, knowing that he did it for himself, right? And that's what he wanted. For the first half of the visit, we booked separate rooms wherever we were, and we only made out, not even touching certain places. And I'd have us stop when I felt like it was about to cross over into more pineapple territory. I was going to say it, but no, not today. Poor man was very physically frustrated, but always remained so understanding and kind with me. It's okay. It's one of the things you have to understand. It's like dealing with a child, right? Child's going to cry, child's going to complain, but at the end of the day, you know what's best for the child, and the child will appreciate you for parenting the right way. You're not his parent, but you get my drift. Sometimes discipline, sometimes, having boundaries and standards going to frustrate the man, but at the end of the day, he'll appreciate you more for that. Trust me. Of course, we had the pineapple talk early on to avoid ambiguities. I said I'd never gone all the way with anyone. He asked if it was because of religious reasons. I said no. I'm looking forward to eventually sharing that with someone, but I'm very selective about who to give myself to and my heart to. That's actually a great answer. I'm glad you responded that way, because like we talked about before, if you're a virgin, great to present it more as a choice rather than, oh, I just, no man has ever tried. That doesn't sound as much like self-respect as, oh, the person that I'm looking to be with just hasn't presented themselves to me. If I find that person, I'll be ready. Sounds way better. Framing is always important. Also told him I'm really enjoying and savoring every step in our relationship and wouldn't want to rush things. That's like what we talked about yesterday. Tell you what, though, you'll be the first to know how... Wait, what? First to know once it feels right for me. You said lightheartedly? Okay, good. Didn't give him any timeline for this, but I communicated that I wanted him to. I just wasn't ready to go all the way yet, like we talked about yesterday. This point seemed to appease him, kind of like he needed to know that I also desired him, even if I didn't want to act on it yet. This would have been a great question to read yesterday. This is literally exactly what we talked about yesterday in keeping men interested without actually giving them pineapples, giving them sex, right? Because they just need to verify that it's not because you're not attracted to them and that it's really definitely going to happen, but just, you want to make sure the other aspects are built so that it's really good for both of you. It's very hard to disagree with that. Would it have been better if I had held back on verbally expressing my mutual desire? No, maybe you didn't see yesterday's show. You did it exactly how I would describe for you to do it. So this is a perfect example of yesterday's show, doing that the right way. That appeased him for that exact reason, because he wanted that verification that that's why you're doing it and that it will eventually come, because then he doesn't have to worry about each day passing, that he's investing time, it's going to go nowhere, right? Because guys also like to gauge how much should I be investing here? Is it actually serving a purpose? Okay, so that's good that you were very, you said that and communicated that. Anyways, there was an evening halfway through the trip when we had one of our most heartfelt convos on his past relationships. I did what you told us to do. I was his sexy therapist. I listened with genuine curiosity and empathy while lightly stroking his arm and also the back of his neck as he got deep in the trenches about his exes. This is textbook. You're so good. You're so good. You're an A+ student, right? You probably learned a lot. I wanted to soak up everything about this human being in front of me. Men may be hungry for pineapples, but I am hungry for life stories. Okay, that's good. That's good. After he poured his heart out, I held his face in both of my hands and I thanked him for being so open and honest with me. This is textbook. I told him that I'm even thankful for the ex-girlfriends, the good and the bad times with them, all the hard things he went through and survived, because it made him the man he is today. Wow, you are really soaking it in. This is textbook. Then I kissed him on his cheek and his forehead. This is amazing. I'm gonna start shedding a tear. This is amazing because you're doing this so good. You're creating such a safe space. He's gonna tell you anything. You're not gonna know. Hey, you're gonna know everything about this damn man. You're gonna know if he has a birthmark on his inner thigh. You're gonna know everything. Oh gosh, Tomisin, this man broke down silently in my arms. You see how well this works, chat? You see how well this works? Be the sexy therapist. I held him close to me while he told me that he has never felt so accepted and understood in his life. You have him by the balls. He's yours now. He belongs to you. You see how this works? That he has feelings for me, appreciates me so much, and knows I didn't fall from the sky this way. So he's probably thinking to himself, there's no way you're this good, just like this, just existing like this in the world. That's what he's trying to say. I've also been through a lot. By the end of the talk, we were both hugging each other with tears streaming down our faces. I say all that to say that this was a turning point that made me realize I was ready to move to the physical aspect of the relationship a little bit further. It was never an inner knowing that it felt right. Okay, this is the thing that I do want to be wary of, okay? See, the problem with the techniques that I teach you all and the strategies is they work. And sometimes in this case, they work so well that you kind of become shocked at the side of a guy you'll see when these strategies work well. However, when you get the small win by the strategy working, that doesn't mean it's now time to escalate, or be like, all right, it's over. We won the war, we won the battle, and we can just let go and do whatever we want now. Okay. That's the mistake. When you get the small win, you keep your leverage. Because right now, okay, I know there's more to the message, but right now you have the ultimate amount of leverage. Okay? You have him in a place where he is so willing to tell you anything that you want to know about him and share with him anything that you want, right? While also simultaneously being patient enough to not pressure you into anything and not expect anything from you in return. He is open in your arms like silly putty to mold him however you want to mold him. This is so much power, so much leverage that you possess now in this moment, okay? That you want to hold on to for as long as possible. No need to realize your power and your leverage only to say, okay, now I want to give it all away. Okay, I know that it worked. Now I want to give it all away now, right? You're getting a little bit too excited with, how well this is working. And that's my fear now. Okay, so in the next half of the trip, we gradually took it further following my pace, but still, up until the time he left to return back to Spain, we never went all the way, and he had zero objections about it. Thank God. Thank God. Okay. Thank God. I was afraid for a second. We had our first disagreement during the trip too, and we resolved it in such a healthy, calm manner that we both were grateful to have experienced conflict together. He also asked me a lot of questions about my thoughts and stance on family, parenting, husband-wife dynamics, finances, etc., and shared his own. We are closely aligned on the big stuff. This is stuff that so when guys ask you stuff that's not, oh, what's your type, stuff like that, when he's asking you about like how you actually want to go about like building a family, how you want to go about like working on these important parts of a relationship, these are questions that you should be answering. Okay, we've never actually discussed this on the show because a lot of men won't ask these type of serious questions, but these are things you should make sure you're aligned with a man on and questions you should be having conversation on and seeing what his response is as well, okay? We are in a good, happy place now, but no matter what happens in the future, I have no regrets because I move things along at my own pace, knowing there were deeper emotions on both sides. This is good. So why am I back here? This week, he spoke to me about coming to Spain, preferably sometime in February 2025. He told me he'd help me apply for a visa by writing a letter of invitation and also financially guaranteeing sponsoring my stay. Oh yeah, you did some work on him. He told me I didn't have to think about accommodations and budget for food because he'll be hosting me. You did that thing. You did your big one. Would it be okay to pay for my airfare, like for you to pay for your own airfare, or should he? I would say leave it up to him. So the next time you guys are discussing the details of how the accommodations and the logistics of you actually getting there, you ask him, should I, pay for my own ticket, or how do we want to handle the ticket situation? You don't even have to say, should I pay for my own ticket? Say, how should we handle the plane ticket situation? Right? Like going about getting the plane ticket. Just ask him that question. You don't have to make the assumption that he'll pay or he won't. Just say, how should we handle, we handle the plane ticket? Then allow him to say to you, oh, he's either going to say, well, you can just buy it from blah, 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 blah. But I have a feeling that if you say, how should we handle the plane ticket? He'll probably just say, I'll pay for it. Most likely, because the way he's talking to you like this, it sounds like he's like, no, I'll pay for it. It's perfectly fine. But just bringing it up will remind him that that's part of the process, right? And if he doesn't, I don't think that it's that big of a deal if he doesn't pay for the plane ticket when he's paying for everything else by the time you get there. Okay, so that's one of those things where I don't think it's a big deal either way. But allow him the choice, whichever he chooses. I'm not for 50-50, but like I said before, I wouldn't want to give the impression that I'm only after freebies because I'm not, which is exactly why you just presented as, okay, we want to make sure we're together. How should we, me and you, deal with the plane ticket, thing, right? Then let him take it from there. He'll either present you, a link to where you should go and buy your plane ticket, or he'll say, I'll take care of it. Don't you worry. Okay, just give me your information. It's one of the two. During our vacation, I would insist on paying for a few things, and he would let me sometimes. If it makes any difference, the flight cost is a significant amount to me, but I am of the mindset that money can always be earned. That's Perfectly fine. Okay. He's paying for, it's not like he's unwilling to pay for things. And you're right. You don't want to come across as if, you're only going to do things unless he does absolutely everything and there's no sort of reciprocation here. There's a balance, right? You don't want him to feel like he's being used or taken advantage of. No one would want to feel like that. Ideally, he wants me to stay the max length of the visa, which is 3 months to make the most of it. Okay. Okay. We're going to have a discussion about this. He says we can go to nearby countries too. I work remotely, so this is possible. But will this be giving him wife treatment? Or is it okay to give him a taste of wifey treatment? What is an acceptable length of stay, knowing what you know about our relationship? When I go to Spain, pineapples may happen at some point, and since I'm the one coming to him this time and possibly paying for my airfare, is it going to come across as if I'm the one pursuing him? How do I maintain the masculine, feminine polarity in this situation? I know you don't encourage long distance relationships, but do you have any other advice you might have for maintaining this now that it is not in the early talking stages anymore? Here's what I've been doing so far. I still do not contact him consistently during the day. Okay, continue doing that. We are both busy adults. We text sparingly since I prefer audio and video calls for actual conversations. Perfect. Keep doing that. We playfully banter via text, sometimes with double entendres, voice notes for random updates, and asynchronous pep talks towards and words of encouragement. I sometimes send photos of me in cute outfits and girly dresses, which he loves, nothing racy. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Tomisin. Your advice has helped me navigate this relationship from almost the beginning and has also strengthened my resolve to keep holding my standards. Listening to you has had such a positive impact on my brain and behavior. Seriously, I hear your voice in my head sometimes. You are doing meaningful work. I'm so glad about that, okay? And I'm so happy that this is working for you very well, Bubbly Mornings. Now, as it relates to this situation currently, this 3-month thing, I'm going to say no to that, okay? Like you mentioned, you're not in the early stages of talking anymore. You're kind of well into this relationship, and you're clearly seeing some good signs of consistency from him and a lot of good things from him. 3 months is too much, though, okay? The reason I say that is because there's lots of time for you guys to continue growing in your relationship and growing with each other. And we don't want you to overstay your welcome. What I mean by that is there's a level of desire a guy has to have for you to continue wanting to see you over and over again. We don't want you to ever put yourself in a position, especially early on, where you're staying to the point where he no longer can muster up that desire to say, I want you more. I want to see you more. I want to talk to you more. The 3-month thing might sound good because you're in a long distance relationship, but the problem is after about that first month, it's going to start to feel like, a routine, like it's regular to see you every day and have you around all the time. The other thing about that is that when you come over for the 3 months, because you're going to him and you're in a place that you're unfamiliar, the likelihood to which you'll be willing to see him every day is way higher now. So now you'll put yourself in a position where even if you're not staying in the same place together, you're willing to see him every day that he's willing to see you. And if he really likes you, he'll be wanting to see you pretty much every day. So now you've gone from seeing him rarely and him being so hungry for you and so, breathing you in so heavy when he finally gets to spend some time with you to seeing you every day. Sounds good, but after that first month, it starts to feel very mundane and regular now. And instead of you being this magical experience, you start to feel like something that just happens, like breathing air. Okay. It's not that big of a deal. We don't want that, especially not early on. We want him to continue to be enamored by you. We want him to continue to desire you. So my advice to you is don't go for the whole 3 months, but you can plan out going back and forth in that 3-month span. So maybe you go for 1 week. And then maybe you wait another 3 or 4 weeks and then you go for 1 more week, okay? Or something like that. Because obviously in long distance, you're not just going to go for 1 day or something like that. And you said the plane ticket's a significant amount of money. So when you're having the next conversation about the logistics of doing this, right? You can let him know, I can't stay for a whole 3 months. I know my job is remote, but I have a lot of stuff to deal with. I wouldn't just be able to abandon my family and stuff like that for 3 months to be in your country, okay? Any understanding adult man would be like, okay, 3 months is a lot. And then you can make the suggestion, can we break this up, right? If this is like a 3 month span that you'll have the, I believe is it a visa, or how did you describe it? Yeah, the visa, right? If that only lasts for 3 months, can we break this up into 1 week increments once every month, right? For those 3 months, or some sort of strategy where I see you for a period of time, but not for the whole 3 months, just because like I need to be able to go back to my own place and regroup and kind of make sure things are good, see my family, see my friends. I don't just want to spend all 3 months over there. That's fair. Okay, especially considering you guys aren't boyfriend and girlfriend yet. And if he's a mature, sane, logical man, that shouldn't be a crazy issue that you don't want to spend 3 months of your life straight in a different country that you've never been to before where you only know him. Okay, any logical human being will be able to accept that, which I think for the most part, what you've been telling me about him, he should be that. And that should be okay. Then you guys can work together on the logistics of having you see him on an ongoing basis, but in a way that is not 3 months at a time, right? Maybe 1 week max at a time, right? Or a week and a half, where you see him, you spend some time with him, you guys get to know each other better on deeper levels, but then you go back and he gets to, desire you some more and be hyped up and anticipate the next time you're going to come back. That's the most important way to pace the relationship and create a rhythm where he gets to see you and spend time with you and have his fun and enjoy you, but he also gets some time away from you to miss you and anticipate the next time he's going to see you. Super, super duper important for a relationship, especially in the early stages, okay? Let's go on to our next question here. Oh, I want to make sure I did. Okay, Bubbly Motors. This one comes from Vicky, okay? So Vicky says, stalled communication. I was waiting for a valet to bring my car. Ooh, you fancy. And I noticed a guy looking at me, but he didn't approach me. So like we talked about today, like a shy guy. He was standing with other guys. Next day, I was at the same hotel and he approached politely. We chatted and he asked for my number. Okay, so maybe he's not a shy guy. I take that back. We are both similar age, mid-30s. He sent me 500 roses a few days later. And we went on a date a week later. Okay. 500 roses. Okay. I won't make a judgment yet until let's see how this goes. 500 roses. Okay. After a week, he sent me 5,000 roses. I don't even know, where do they sell 5,000 roses? Okay. Chat. I bought a lot of roses before. How big is 5,000? Can you even carry that in your, I'm a large human being and I'm 6'3" with long arms. Can you even carry that like this? Can you even carry 5,000 roses? Or is that something you're going to have to like put on a truck? I don't even know what 5,000 roses looks like. Okay. I've never received that many, so I'm excited about his generosity. Well, you met him in the valet, right? So I'm assuming he's got some money. But really trying to control showing it from what you have said about appearing like such treatment is normal to me. That is important as well. I've been following all your advice with him so far. English is my first language, but not his. His is Russian. He speaks English, but not great, so communication is not as smooth as it would be with a native English speaker. Sometimes he was taking time to reply on messages, so I would just double my response time. Nah. Then he brought up that I was taking time to reply, and he thought I wasn't so interested in him. I told him I'm just busy sometimes. But how can I say something about his response time without seeming so interested? Don't comment on it. I honestly mean that. Don't comment on it. The reason for that is it doesn't serve you any purpose. Most guys aren't going to change their response time because you comment on it. Just keep him in a position of complaining about how long it takes for you to respond. It's your power. Another question. He told me he did not initially approach me first day because he was with men. We are both Muslim. So what is, I don't even understand the relevance of, not that, you saying it is unimportant, but how is him being with men and being Muslim, how does that affect that? But I'm wondering, is it really that reason, or could it be because he's married? Now your wheels are spinning a little bit, but I don't, from my understanding, him being with men and being Muslim, those aren't correlated. So him being with Muslim men, I'm assuming, and him being Muslim himself, that doesn't stop him from approaching you. Unless by that he means because maybe you're not a Muslim woman, or you don't dress like a typical Muslim woman, that he wouldn't be able to approach you because he's supposed to be approaching Muslim women who dress, and cover themselves totally. If that's maybe what he means by that. He's a Russian Muslim man, though. Interesting. But maybe that's what he means by that, right? So that's not that. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that would mean. By him saying that. He would have to describe. But what it's making me feel like is maybe he means he should be approaching only a Muslim woman, right? She said she's Muslim too. Did she say that earlier in the? I didn't see that there. Did she? I didn't see her say that. Oh, sorry. We are both Muslim. Yeah, sorry. She said it right here. Okay, so I'm wondering why that is that though. Then I'm wondering. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That logic train doesn't make a lot of sense. Just to add, we first exchanged numbers 3 weeks ago, but we didn't go on the date until 1 week after because I had family visiting from abroad. So I was busy with them. And then he got the flu, so he had to cancel the second date and now has traveled for work. Hence why there has not been a lot of message communication rather than actual dates so far. So you're saying this is kind of like stalled communication. The only thing that you can do whenever communication stalls like this is nothing. I know that that's such a very simple way to answer the question, but your job is not to remind him of your existence. Your job is not to remind him that you haven't gone on a date in a while. Your job is not to remind him that he's now traveled for work and this has happened and that has happened. So you guys haven't been able to see each other very recently and he should want to go take you out on a date. Remember, okay, this was the same guy that was sound enough and cared enough to send you 5,000 roses a few days after meeting you and then send you 5,000 roses a few days later. So the same guy who was, thinking about you enough and wanted you enough to send you 500 and then 5,000 roses, I promise you that guy does not forget your existence, right? And he is not incapable of knowing how to plan and schedule a date if he really wants to see you. The reason I'm reminding you of this is because this time period where things are stalling can start to make you feel like you need to do something to kind of fire this back up again. The guy who sent you 500 and 5,000 roses, you don't need to do a damn thing to fire this back up again. If he wants to pursue you and do things for you and show you his interest, he clearly knows exactly how to do that. So if he's not doing that, then that means it's an active choice, not a mistake and not an accident. Okay? So just remind yourself of that when you're thinking about reaching out to him or messaging him or calling him or reminding him of the fact you haven't seen him in a long time. Okay? Because the reason you haven't seen him in a long time is because he hasn't bothered to actually take the initiative of taking you out or seeing you in a long time. And if he's never going to do that, then you have to accept that you're not going to be doing the reaching out for him. Okay? He can send you 500 and 5,000 roses. He can figure out how he's going to see you or organize a date with you. It is not very hard. All right? Let's go on to our next question here. Okay, this one was deleted. Help me stay in my feminine. Our next one, oh boy. I don't even know how I can say it. OF models. Oh boy. Hey, Tomisin, you say in a lot of your lives that men are obsessed with OF girls because they focus on their own life. Well, part of the reason is because they invest their time and energy into themselves, so it's attractive to men. That the whole OF thing's a whole totally different thing though in itself. But yes, partially, yes. But you also say self-respect is important. Yes, it is. I don't understand how it's not embarrassing to be with a girl that shakes her bum for the camera. Why would they want that? Every guy can jerk to their girl then, okay? So the reason I say that because two things can be true, right? Men can be attracted to only F girls, right? Because they're physically attractive, and because, you know, when you invest in yourself, you invest in your looks and things like that, men, they find you interesting, fascinated, and they're attracted to you. That can be true while also being true that there are different types of attention, meaning guys can give women attention that they would never actually be in a relationship with, right? Because self-respect is a thing. Now, I will say this. Some men, sure, they can be outliers, meaning they enjoy or, you know, embrace the fact of dating an OF model that, you know, is spread open for everyone to see. Okay. I will never explain to you guys a strategy or a thought process or a theory and say this covers every man in the entire world that has ever existed. It's impossible, because I'm only one man with one perspective and everyone is slightly different. But when we're talking about when you go out into your dating world, what you're most likely to see, you're most likely not going to see a lot of men who will be willing to date you if you are an OF model. Okay. That's just the honest truth about life. Okay. However you want to feel about that is however you want to feel about that, but it is the reality. Now, sure, there definitely will be some men who will be willing to date you still as an OF model, but are you likely to find those men just walking around town or on a dating app or, you know, in the grocery store? Most likely you're not going to find those men just walking around, okay? Because they're few and far between. They do exist, but they're few and far between. For most men, this process of being attracted to the OF girls is simply just the wank fantasy. And trust me, the attention that you think that they're giving to these OF models, when they wank themselves off, they immediately go and do something else with their life. They're not thinking about it more than that. And the men who are obsessed with paying for the OF over and over again, the reason they're doing that is because they don't have that in-person real life connection, which is why they feel the need to fill that void with a connection with someone online that they think they're in a relationship with. Because I'll tell you in on a little secret, the OF isn't just watching them, it's also chatting with them and feeling like they're actually communicating with a woman who they would never really have a chance with. That's also part of the lore of the OF. And by the way, a lot of those girls aren't even actually messaging those guys themselves. They have an agency of men, like middle-aged men, that message those other men who are paying for the subscription and pretend to be that girl so that they can, you know, build that connection and continue sending money. So it's a very twisted game that the OF, you know, creators and the audience plays, because the audience is talking to those women to try and build a connection that they think is a real person behind the computer. And the OF agency and creators you're not even actually talking to that real person, right? They know that they can monetize and gain more money from the lonely men who are desperate for a connection. Because those men, if they had a real life physical connection, they would never need the OF, because that's what the OF is actually supplementing, is the in-person connection. So when they need that, they type away, but they're not even actually talking to the girl that they're watching. They're talking to, I literally mean this, they're talking to like a 40, 50-year-old man sitting behind a computer who has like 30 chats open, and they're not even actually typing these out originally. A lot of times these men are just copy and pasting the same prompts, because most guys will have similar KINKSs, and they're just copying and pasting that to different chats, right? And just inserting a name. Sounds really dark and twisted. It is. Okay. But I know a lot about a lot, which is why I know how that works. Okay. So I just say that to say, don't get lost in, you know, why men are interested in that, because I promise you the inner workings of that is not something you even want to bother involving yourself with or trying to understand, because the people that watch that are in a very particular place in their life. And the people that create that are also in a very particular place in their life, which no judgment to anyone. But that's not you, okay? I'm assuming at least. And so what you want to focus on is how majority of the men that you will be dating think and perceive things and go about life, right? The normal, regular men who don't have some sort of crazy issues will be going about life. And majority of them, while they might wank themselves off to the OF model every now and again, they're not actually caring about dating those women, right? Or they don't have any interest in dating those women. Most of them, the same regular normal ones. Okay. So I'll just let that be known to you. Let's do one more here. Okay. Hopefully this one isn't super long. Oh boy, this one's really long. Oh man. I don't know if I could, yeah, we won't have time to do this one today. Okay. We'll save this one for tomorrow. Don't worry. Knoppers? We'll do yours tomorrow. I'll make sure to save it here, and we'll get to yours tomorrow. It's really long, so I don't want to be too over here. I have to go somewhere. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who have a question for me, make sure to send in your question via our Discord, whether it be our free relationship advice section or our premium relationship advice section, whichever one you choose. Just make sure to access that by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description on YouTube, and you can send your question in that way. Oh, let me make sure I address some of these super chats that we got here. Oh, Olga donated 20 euros as a super sticker super chat in the YouTube chat. She didn't say anything. She just donated 20 euros. Thank you so much, Olga. I appreciate you. All right, chat. So for those of you who are on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Tomisin_Tub on the top left corner of the screen. For those of you on YouTube that want to follow me on Instagram, it's Tomisin_Tub, and it's in the link in my description. You can get my Instagram there that way. For those of you who are in our TikTok and you want to rewatch our entire show because you missed parts of it or you came late, go ahead onto my YouTube channel and you can just rewatch the show there. Just go on, my name's Tomisin Atobatele. Go into the live section. You'll see this live stream and all the other live streams since we've done since the beginning of time. Okay. Ivy said do nulls. But the thing about it is nulls question is in the queue here, but I have to be fair to everyone and keep it in order here. Null, if you really want your question to be answered tomorrow, you can either choose to put it in the premium, right? Pay for premium, or you just have to wait. I have to be fair to everyone. I can't skip questions or play favorites just because someone wants their question answered sooner. I have to keep it fair to everyone and the order of things so that everyone is aware that that's how we do it no matter who you are, okay? So I'm not being mean. I just have to be fair to everyone, okay? Birthday or not, I got to be fair to everyone. Everyone gets the same treatment, even my A+ amazing students in the Discord, okay? Because if I start saying some people get their question answered sooner than others, then other people will be like, that's not fair. I had to wait so long for my question. I got to keep it fair. You want it to be answered ASAP, you got to be in the premium, okay? You just got to keep it fair for everyone. All right? So that's show. I will see you guys. I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to be here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you join me on the show if you want to be there right on time, right when I go live. And until we meet again, goodbye for now. Arrivederci, adios, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam, bon voyage. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Those said I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you too. I love you all. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay? All right. It won't be long. We'll be together very soon. All right?